Gavin Newsom on the deployment of military to L.A. Gavin Newsom, not necessarily my favorite person, but the point is he is the governor of California, and his state is challenging Trump's use of the military in this instance, which is going to be an important precedent to set. And hopefully it'll happen quickly. If you are to believe Ketanji Brown Jackson, Supreme Court Justice, it probably won't move as quickly as some of other things involving Trump. When Trump wants the Supreme Court to act quickly, that shadow docket immediately responds. When anybody else does, it seems to be very, very slow. But
and to your point, though, about how Newsom, not our favorite person, but it's important to have this on the books. The memorandum that Trump put out that basically authorized this did not specify. There have been a number of legal writers who've pointed this out. Did not specify a particular state. Did not just say that this is for California. So this memorandum could be, in theory, used for other states. So it's important that California, given its size and population, stands up in this way.
You think things are now under control?
For the moment, but they're not about to be. He just called up another 2,000 National Guard, so it's now 4,000. And we're getting word that he's looking to operationalize that relationship and advance significantly larger scale ICE operations in partnership and collaboration with the National Guard. We're on the other side now of the red line. And I haven't even mentioned the self-evident major escalation, which is next level. And that is the Secretary of Defense just moments ago tweeting out that he's quote unquote deploying 700 active military to Los Angeles. And unless he just done it, I have not seen the Insurrection Act formally advanced, but by definition, this would require the Insurrection Act.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you have now filed suit to protest the federalizing of the California National Guard. These 700 Marines who are apparently being sent to Los Angeles, is there a legal avenue for you to challenge that deployment?
Well, unless he opposes the Insurrection Act, just blatantly unconstitutional. It's not even a close call. And so we're going to immediately try to seek a TRO, an injunction to stop this completely reckless, immoral, yes, but completely illegal and unconstitutional act. And I'll remind folks, this is an act not just against the people here in Los Angeles, against the people here in the state of California, but against Americans all across this country, against the principles of our founding father that did not live and die to watch these authoritarian tendencies in action. And let me be now even more specific. The absurdity of this cannot be understated. There were 2,000 National Guard that were, quote unquote, deployed, of which only 315 actually were mission assigned. 1,700 have no particular role or responsibility. Yesterday, local law enforcement had to protect the National Guard. The additional 2,000 National Guard men and women that President Trump now is redeploying are being taken away. It's the 79th Infantry. These are I know these folks well. You know these folks well. These are the folks, these are the National Guard men and women that have been out there protecting you here in Southern California during the fires, after the fires. We are now taking many of them off assignments on forest management, protecting communities, vulnerable communities against summer and wildfire season. We're removing them from task forces that we've created to deal with fentanyl interdiction. I have 394 National Guard men and women down at the border. I imagine they may even be pulled for this theatrical display of toughness by a president of the United States who's unhinged and has now crossed a red line in this country, and he has nationalized this order. This is not an order against this state. This is an order that can be imposed now all across the United States.
There you have it.
Accurate explanation by Newsom. and also about the concern broadly about this being a testing ground. I think I saw Karen Bass say something similar, and there's many issues with how they've responded to crises, including this one where there's some criticism on the ground about like Karen Bass being weak on this. So this is not to let them off the hook, obviously. But she said that basically it seems like this is a laboratory, what they're doing in California. This
Without a doubt.
What they can get away with across the country.
Without a doubt. Let's cue up this one I just put in the IM. Because here is Trump. You just heard Gavin Newsom say that 1,700 of the 2,000 are just sitting around. And that the National Guard are actually having to be protected now by the police department.
Right.
They have nothing to do. They have nothing to do under the auspices in which they were sent. And here is Donald Trump claiming that the police couldn't handle it when, in fact, the police were the ones who ended up protecting the National Guard. Good.
Engagement. All I want is safety. I just want a safe area. Los Angeles was under siege until we got there. The police were unable to handle it. You can speak to the chief. He said it on television 3 nights ago. He said, this is more than we can handle. They said that. And the LA police, I know a lot of the police in LA, they're good.
That is exactly not what the police chief has said. The police chief has put out written statements saying, we don't need this. Go ahead.
This is more than we can handle. They said that. And the LA police, I know a lot of the police in LA, they're good, they're great people, but they're given instructions not to do this, not to do that. But in this case, they were trying their best. They were not able to handle it. It was out of control. When we got there, and you have to remember, I've been here before, and I went right by every rule, and I waited for governors to say, send in the National Guard. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't. Engagement. All I want is...
They wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it. Like, which is it? They said that they needed the help, or they said they didn't need the help? Right. Incidentally, this is the same guy who, when it comes to FEMA, here, play this clip. This is in the same press conference that Trump had just gave moments ago. He's saying that he needs to send it in despite the fact that the governor, the mayor, and the police chief said we don't need this help. And here he is talking about disaster relief.
Thank you very much, Rachel, everybody. So we want to wean off of FEMA, and we want to bring it down to the state level. A little bit like education, we're moving it back to the states so the governors can handle it. That's why they're governors now. If they can't handle it, they shouldn't be governor. But these governors can handle it, and they'll work in conjunction with other governors. They'll give each other a hand. But
Okay, so there it is now. When it comes to a hurricane, a flood, earthquake, tornadoes, you guys got this. Listen,
give each other a hand.
It's just, I mean, contemplate the notion of each of these states. Many of them are red states, of course. Contemplate the notion of each of them having to have a dedicated rescue operations, dedicated emergency workers. And I'm not saying the numbers they have now, they obviously have some. But how many do you think come in the wake of a hurricane or massive tornadoes or floods? 2 times the personnel? 3 times? 5 times? What about all the trailers, the specialized trailers? Are states supposed to just sort of maintain these things, buy them all, maintain them, do upkeep, hire people to service them? Of course they won't. Of course they won't.
Well, they would. This is probably Trump trying to push them towards privatization.
Yeah, I mean,
like down in New Orleans, and we saw how that worked in Hurricane Katrina.
Yep.
Even with a completely anemic federal response, and
so on one hand,
yeah.
Trump is sort of shoving the National Guard down the throats of folks in California who have specifically said don't do it, and then pulling back resources for things like real emergencies. I mean, that's the story of what's going on here. And here is Trump just, was that this morning or yesterday?
Yesterday. Bring in the troops,
says Trump. And of course, there's Charlie Kirk.
Saying bring in the troops if we, yep. There we go.
Charlie Kirk is all geeked up.
What? Could they borrow some of the buses that you used on January 6th?
Yeah, exactly.
I think this was over the weekend, by the way, but
Maybe say this is
June 9th.
Yeah.
oh, does it say there? Oh, okay.
And then this is also, I mean, past the big, beautiful bill, this is, how they're trying to shore up all the support as you have the Hawks versus the dead Hawks versus the tax cut people. Well, you're anti-American. You support the invasion if you don't pass the BBB.
What's the part that we're supposed to team up with Charlie Kirk about? Is it that he's anti-war? I can't remember now. What is it? What is it that I know we're supposed to have a beer with him, but what is it that we're supposed to join Charlie Kirk in doing?
It's really tough to remember at this point, I gotta say.
You still have that ka-ching sound effect? Could answer things.
Honestly,
Speaking
what is
of
it that
Gavin
we're supposed to? What is it we're supposed to?
But right, isn't it? Right. I was reminded of that fluffy interview that Gavin Newsom conducted, the governor, on his podcast with Charlie Kirk.
Exactly.
Right? Yes.
Hey, Gavin, how'd that work out?
How'd it work out, buddy?
Why didn't Newsom just call Charlie Kirk and say, "Hey, man, we're going to pod again? Let's do this," instead of like we can have
so
a
much
debate.
in common, as you're basically saying, send in the troops over your newfound buddy's objection. Insane.
Pizza Dog. Local news confirming ICE raids at South Omaha meatpacking plants, liberal city in a red state, Don Bacon's district. We have yet to see widespread ICE enforcement in a lot of the key red districts in red states.
Yep.
My understanding is Kristi Noem, I remember reports from like early in this administration, Kristi Noem apparently had a lot of people maybe at her farm.
Undocumented folks. There's targeting. They want to make a big display in cities because, of course, that's the decay of multiculturalism. And then they're going to move on to meet their quotas elsewhere. But this was all about the pretext of, setting up and expanding their authority and their power.
I have just a late edition here. Zoran gave a press conference, and Dave Weigel clipped an interesting part of it, just 20 seconds here, about what America needs as from mayors in this moment.
Yeah.
It is authoritarianism. It is an example of what the Trump administration is already doing across this country and hopes to bring to cities from coast to coast. What we deserve in this moment is a mayor who can look that authoritarianism in the eye and not see a reflection of themselves.
Ooh.
There, next to him, Chiose, guest for tomorrow on this program.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
Cuomo's out there going like, wait, what? Wait.
Cuomo's the guy who got us through COVID by putting all those people in nursing homes to die.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.